Hello everyone and welcome to my kitchen. Today we are going to be making some delicious oatmeal raisin cookies. So the first thing that we're going to do is start creaming together our butter and sugar. We're going to be using half a cup or 1 stick of unsalted butter. And I'm just going to go ahead and get that in the bowl of my stand mixer here. And then we are going to put in 3/4 cup of brown sugar. You can use light brown sugar for this. You can use dark brown sugar. Either one is perfectly fine. I always have light brown on hand, so that is what I'm using today. So 3/4 cup, and then we're gonna go ahead and cream this. All right, our butter and brown sugar is all mixed together. So now what we're gonna do is go ahead and get our dry ingredients together and then go ahead and keep working on our actual mix. So the first thing we're gonna do is a cup of flour, spooned and leveled, just 1 cup. And then we're gonna do 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. If you like yours less warm, less cinnamony, just put less in. It's a really personal preference here. I'm gonna do half a teaspoon of baking soda and half a teaspoon of nutmeg. Again, if you like yours a little less spicy, just go less, but I like this as a nice warm fall cookie, so to me, I like to have the spices in there. And then we're just gonna take a whisk real quick here and just whisk it together so everything is nice and combined. And then we're gonna set this aside and go back to our KitchenAid here. What we wanna do here is go ahead and use a rubber spatula to scrape down the sides. All right, so what we're going to be adding to the bowl of our stand mixer now is 1 egg. It is technically best if you crack this into a bowl first. I didn't think of that, so here we are. And then we're also going to be adding in about a tablespoon of honey. You could also use molasses here if you like your cookies to have a little bit of a darker flavor to them. So if you like that, you can go molasses versus honey. Molasses is kind of a strong flavor, so it's not something I'm hugely a fan of, except like in gingerbread. So I'm erring on the side of honey. And then we want to do about 2 teaspoons worth of vanilla. And we're just gonna go ahead and get this incorporated with our butter. Okay, now all of our ingredients are mixed in down here, so we're just going to use our spatula again to scrape everything off the bottom, make sure that everything gets incorporated nicely, and then we're gonna go ahead and add our dry ingredients in. And we're gonna go ahead and get those mixed before we add our oats. Okay, I just want you to see this mixture because it's so nice and smooth and beautiful. It almost looks like cinnamon sugar frosting. So now we're gonna go ahead and add in our oats. 1½ cups of oats. And I wanna go ahead and mix this in before we put in our raisins. And then one more time, scrape down the bowl. And then we're gonna go ahead and add in our raisins. Now, I'm just doing raisins today, but you could also add nuts in here if you wanted, or you can expand your horizons a little bit. You can try golden raisins, craisins, so cranberry raisins. You could even do dried blueberries if you want, or you could do a mix of them. So there's a lot you can do as far as like just kind of zhuzhing this up, like making it a little bit different. You want to use about 2/3 of a cup of raisins. and I'm just gonna mix those in by hand. And then we're gonna go ahead and get some cookie sheets with parchment paper on them and get these in the oven. They're gonna go into a 350-degree oven for about 12 minutes. You wanna check them depending on how your oven is, like you know how your oven is. If your oven runs hot, I would check them around the 8-minute mark just to make sure. If your oven doesn't really run like hot or cold, I would say check it around 10-minute mark, but probably you're going to be looking at anywhere between 10 to 12 minutes. It's just always good to check it a little bit early to make sure it's not getting too dark or too done. If you are confused about when to pull these out, what you want to look for is the brownish edge. So it's a little bit of a tan, not super dark brown, but a little bit brown. That's going to be when you want to pull them out, even if the centers still look a little bit doughy and uncooked. This is going to give you a nice chewy cookie versus a crunchy, crisp cookie. Now, if you prefer a crisp cookie, by all means, leave them in a little bit longer. But to me, that tends on the side of burnt. So I like to pull mine out at this point when the edges are nice and starting to get dark, but the inside is still a little bit gooey. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a great night.